Hi guys, and welcome to a Hector lecture guide to the fight Hell's Kier Unreal. This is Suzaku. Before you begin this fight, the only thing you need in advance is color pairs. You need to have one support and one DPS. Before we begin this first phase, be aware of how the Phoenix corpses in the middle of the ground work. AoEs, like you see here, can be dropped on top of one of the Phoenix corpses to cause them to rise from the ashes. This ad now becomes targetable, and it will follow around whoever raised them from the dead. You can DPS this ad down, and when it dies, it'll drop a corpse wherever you kill it. If you accidentally drop your AoE on multiple Phoenixes, you will raise all of them from the dead. They will tether to the same player, and whenever they're near to each other, they get a vulnerability down, which makes them much harder to kill, so don't do this. Additionally, some ground AoEs in this phase are capable of also raising the Phoenixes from the dead. This is bad. If they're raised this way, they're going to have an insane buff to their HP and be nigh unkillable, so don't let that happen. The fight begins with the raid-wide Screams of the Damned, so heal and mitigate through it. Afterwards, the boss will jump away and appear on a random cardinal or intercardinal, and every player is targeted with one of those pink AoEs. The boss is about to dive through the middle in a cleave, so we need to go to the sides of the boss, while also not dropping our AoEs on any of the Phoenix corpses. You can do this group 1 left, group 2 right, like I show here, or YOLO, it doesn't matter, just make sure you spread. Afterwards, you want everybody to come quite close to wherever the boss respawns, as the boss will turn and target a player with Fleeting Summer. This is much easier to walk out of as long as you are near to the boss. After this, we get Cremate, which is a magical tank buster on whoever's the main tank at this time. We now have Phoenix down, which is going to cause a bunch of feathers to fall onto the arena. These feathers will shortly afterwards telegraph some AoEs, showing that the entire arena is going to be unsafe. To deal with this, be aware that some of these feathers are tall scarlet tail feathers, and others are the shorter scarlet plumes. The scarlet tail feathers have way more HP and are way too hard to kill, so instead, we need to take down the scarlet plumes. They will always appear in a pattern like this, with the scarlet plumes either on cardinals or intercardinals, so just go to your color quadrant, as we discussed earlier, and DPS down whichever scarlet plume is in your area. It shouldn't take too much effort, but have both the DPS and the support in that area target it. Once it's dead, you'll see that this has revealed safe spots. Unfortunately, you'll see that all of the Phoenix corpses are still primed to be hit by the big scarlet tail feather in the middle. That's a problem. We can't have them raised this way or we won't be able to kill them. Fortunately, all of the DPS are about to be targeted with one of those pink circles, and we can use this to raise the Phoenixes from the dead and move them to a safe spot. Every DPS should stand on top of the Phoenix in their color quadrant, taking special care to make sure that they're only going to raise one Phoenix. As soon as their Phoenix is back up, drag it to where you initially killed the Scarlet Plume to separate them from each other and make them easier to kill. Try to make sure your Phoenix is not in any of the ground AoEs, so if you kill it early, it doesn't get re-raised by one of the Scarlet Tail Feathers. During this, there's a Cremate tank buster, so mitigate through this. Shortly after, the Scarlet Tail Feathers will explode, and players should be able to kill their Phoenixes shortly afterwards. There's a Screams of the Damned raid wide, and then immediately afterwards, the boss is going to jump middle, cast Eternal Flame, and after a couple of seconds of being targetable, jump away, beginning the transition. For the transition, every player should go to their color quadrant, and we need one player per circle. I have supports on cardinals, DPS on intercardinals, but it really doesn't matter, just pick a circle. This is entirely a downtime phase, so there's no DPSing to do during it. All you're doing is playing Dance Dance Revolution. Orbs will appear at every position and slowly move towards each of the players, and you'll see an arrow underneath your feet. Every player needs to turn to face the direction that the arrow is pointing. If done correctly, the orb will give you a damage up, instead of going into the middle and powering up the boss. If too many orbs go into middle because players fail the mechanic, you'll wipe. After 10 rounds, the boss will cast its ultimate attack, so mitigate heavily through this heavy raid-wide damage, and the stage will transition. From this point onwards, both the outside of the arena and the inside of the arena are deadly and will cause you to fall to your death if you go too far in or out, so be careful. We start with Southern Star, which is a raid-wide. We then get either Mesmerizing Melody, which is going to be a draw-in, so you need to go to the edge of the arena as you're going to get pulled back in, or Ruthless Refrain. This is a knockback, so you need to go near to middle so you don't get knocked off the edge. Both of these can be skipped with knockback immune. Well of Flame is next. The boss will face a random player and cast a telegraphed AoE, while either all supports or all DPS are targeted with these pink spread circles. Spread outside of the AoE, and after they go off, one of the healers gets a stack marker, so stack back where you started. I recommend that the main tank does not join the stack, as immediately afterwards you're getting Phantom Flurry. This is a unique tank buster. It's going to hit the main aggro target several times for heavy damage, and then do a 180-degree cleave in the direction wherever the boss was facing when the cast bar finished. To deal with this, have your tank start to pop cooldowns. When the cast bar finishes, your main tank is now going to dodge behind the boss, and your off tank is going to provoke. That's because we both get the 180-degree cleave that the tanks need to dodge, and main tank is getting a physical vuln, so this requires a tank swap. The stage will transition, and we get our new arena and a bunch of runes around the outside edges. The Phoenix is now going to move in a big circle slowly around the arena, and every time that they come across a rune, they're going to cause that rune to explode, as well as the tile corresponding to it. Essentially, don't be on a tile when it's about to explode. This looks complicated, but the two patterns that you're seeing on the left and the right of the screen are the only two patterns that you can get. The first pattern we'll look at is the one over on the left side of the screen. For this one, position yourself next to the first rune that's going to be hit, in this case, blue. Wait for the Phoenix to hit it, and as soon as it hits it, move on to that tile. Now wait for the tile you dodged from to get hit twice, and then move back. The timing's not particularly tight. The other pattern that you see over on the far right side of the screen is like a merry-go-round. You'll notice that all the colors are just going in one big circle. For this one, you can, if you want to, just stand behind the first AoE and then follow the circle around, but if you don't want to do as much movement, look at the pattern I have people do here. Instead, we wait for the first explosion, dodge into it, and now we're just going to wiggle between the fourth and the first rune hit. The timing's a little bit tighter. If you don't feel confident with it, just follow the AoEs around, run in a circle behind them. When the Phoenix is finished, the stage will transition back. We get either a mesmerizing melody or a ruthless refrain, and then we get close quarter crescendo. With close quarter crescendo, orbs appear all around the outside of the arena, tethered to random players, and they all have an arrow. This arrow signifies which direction the player is going to be forced to move in. Let's look at off tank. Follow their tether. Look at the arrow that they're attached to. It's pointing east. As a result, off-tank needs to position themselves far to the west so that when this goes off, they'll have room to run and not fall to their death. Make sure you're not positioned to run through middle, as again, there's a giant hole there. As for when this is going to go off, look at your debuff timer. This debuff here starts off with a hefty amount of time. As long as you're in position before that timer hits 0, you're good to go. If all players follow this, going opposite the direction that their arrows are pointing, the orbs will start to move towards players, but that doesn't matter. What matters is the timer on the debuff. When it hits 0, players are forced to march for about 4 seconds. We get another Well of Flame and another Phantom Flurry. Stage transitions, and this is really very similar to what we had before. The only difference this time is before the first set of runes, there's a mesmerizing melody, so we need to make sure the players are out. And before the second set of runes, there's a Southern Star raid-wide. This is followed up by a Phantom Flurry, a Southern Star, and next up we get Incandescent Interlude. For this one, all players should pre-position in their color quadrants as described at the beginning of this guide. 4 towers are going to appear on each cardinal, and then the boss will start to cast Ruthless Refrain. This is going to require all players to be in to ride the knockback towards where they're going, or to pop knockback immunity. However, before we commit to a tower, we wait because about halfway through the cast, either all supports or all DPS will get targeted with these AoEs. If you have an AoE, you can't take a tower. So the players without the AoEs, in this case the supports, position to get knocked into towers in their color quadrant. The other players position to get knocked back into the intercardinal at their color quadrant. If you are a melee and you don't have to soak a tower, might as well pop knockback immunity here so you can keep your uptime. Afterwards, there's a Well of Flame AoE, but it's just the AoE targeted at a random player, so just dodge out of it. Once again, the stage transitions, but this time there's only 4 colored runes on the outside. The easiest way to deal with this pattern is to dodge into the tile for the first rune that's going to be hit. So in this case, the Phoenix is heading towards the east first, and pink would be the tile we want to dodge into. To make this trickier, the fight combines this with other mechanics we've seen earlier. First up, we get a Well of Flame, and 6 players are targeted for spread AoEs. Spread and dodge the cleave. And immediately afterwards, position yourself near to either the first or second tile that's going to get exploded. Wait for it to explode, and dodge in. Afterwards, the boss will cast Close Quarter Crescendo, and we get those same orbs we saw earlier with the forced marches. We need to solve this similar to how we did the first time, but because this is going to go off at the same time as the tile explosions, we want to start in one of the third or fourth tiles that's going to explode. In this case, either black or blue. Make sure you don't go too far out to the edge because it is possible that you won't have gotten out of your tile before it explodes if you start too near to the edge. If you position similar to what you see here, the forced march is going to go off just before the first tile starts to explode, and you should find yourself on one of the safe tiles when the explosions go off. After the Phoenix goes around the first time, once it gets back to its original position, we get more runes, and we've got another round of this, but with new mechanics. We get either a Ruthless Refrain or a Mesmerizing Melody to deal with. You can just knockback immune this, or you can position yourself in or out, but this goes off way before the first set of explosions, so just deal with it, and then dodge into the first tile that explodes after it goes off. Before the final set of rune explosions, have whichever tank has aggro position themselves in the middle of the second tile to explode, in this case, pink. The reason we do this is because we're going to get a Phantom Flurry tank buster, and to make the dodge as easy as possible for the rest of the group, you want it so that 180 cleave is going opposite the first tile, which will always just be the second tile. If you do this right, everybody gets a very easy dodge. And from here on out, it's all repeated mechanics. You're going to get some Southern Stars, some Ruthless Refrains, some Mesmerizing Melodies, some Phantom Flurries, and eventually, when the boss gets sick of repeating mechanics, the stage will transition, and you'll see that we have a problem here. There's one slow-cast Southern Star, but it's a debate because as soon as the Phoenix touches the first rune, it's game over. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.